Causes of the bullwhip effect in supply chains. In this video segment, we will discuss 5 causes of the bullwhip effect in supply chains, and they will include first, reactive and overreactive ordering, second, order synchronization, third, order batching, fourth will be trade promotions and forward buying that is caused by it, and the fifth, rationing and the resulting shortage gaming. The first cause of the bullwhip effect we will discuss is reactive and overreactive ordering. And it happens when each location wants to forecast its demand individually, each location or stage in the supply chain. The problem is when you see a bit of a demand swing, right? So, for example, if the demand suddenly increases above what it used to be, right? The question that each stage faces is this a signal of higher future demand, or is it just a random variation in the current normal demand, right? And of course, it is human to hedge against some uncertainty and assume this might be a higher future demand, right? And therefore, we at this stage we try to order a little bit more from the higher stage in the supply chain. And of course, this kind of propagation can go on upstream, right? So maybe retailer will observe a little bit higher sales from consumers, might think this is a increase in the demand. So the retailer will order more from the wholesaler. The wholesaler will see an increase in the retailer's orders. So maybe they will order even more, predicting even bigger increase in the future demand. And these overreactions can propagate up the supply chain, up the stages. The second cause of the bullwhip effect is order synchronization. And it happens when, for example, certain stages in the supply chain order periodically from a higher stage. And, right, so for example, it could be on a weekly basis, more retailers order, for example, from wholesalers on a particular day and much less on a different day of the week. And similarly, it can happen in the monthly time frame. Maybe we order every on the first day of the month or other things. Additionally, we might have something called push ordering. Push ordering is when salespeople push some orders down the supply chain at the end of a month or a quarter or a year in order to achieve sales quota, right? So of course this will also create synchronization because many of the salespeople might have this incentive at the end of a quarter, and that will of course create demand swing that when it is not explained might look like a lot of variability or maybe an increase in demand, right? This graph shows what happens when you see the continuous blue line. You see here that is the daily consumer demand for some product, and the gray line with squares is what retailers order weekly from a distributor or a warehouse, right? And you see because there's much more retailers ordering on Monday, and only one ordering on Wednesday or other days are also much smaller. You see a lot of demand swings here. The third cause is order batching. Order batching happens due to packaging restrictions, right? Maybe our orders have to be in cases or in pallets, and we don't have a choice. We can't order 1.5 pallet. We either have to order 1 pallet or 2 pallets, right? Similarly, batching can also happen due to economies of scale, right? The cost per order is high, so we order less frequently, larger quantities. If there are quantity discounts, this becomes even, right? This effect is even worse. And of course, right, again, if you see some demand here in this chart, where the demand is roughly on average 20 units per time unit, and then this is maybe consumer demand, and then the retailers order from supplier in 50 unit batches, then they either have to order 0 or 15 or 30 or 45 or 60, right? And because of this, there's a lot of swings. If they don't need much, maybe they order 0 instead of ordering a few units. And if they order 1.5, right, of 15 unit batches, they actually have to order 2. So have to order either 30 or 15. And so you see much bigger swings due to batching. The fourth cause of the bullwhip effect is trade promotions. Well, trade promotions is when a supplier gives retailer a temporary discount, and a lot of companies provide those. Maybe even on a regular basis, once or twice a year, and some special seasons, and so on. And of course, what that causes, right? Trade promotion causes forward buying. Forward buying is when retailers purchase enough to satisfy demand until, for a long time, sometimes even until the next promotion, right? So if you have promotions, for example, in June and in December, then, some retailers would actually buy a lot, right? This is an example of what one retailer bought, right? In December, the retailer bought a lot in order to satisfy demand till June, and then there was no purchases at all. And then again in June, the retailer bought a lot, but this time a little bit insufficient, so they bought more from August to November, right? So you see, it creates a lot of variability because there is, of course, financial incentive for the retailer to do this, right? But what it causes for a supplier is that maybe the shipments are much higher. So you see how, for example, transportation costs, suddenly you need a lot of transportation capacity in a short period. And because of this, you have an increased cost, right? So the combination, the effect is actually a combination of order synchronization and order batching, right? Synchronization because a lot of retailers will order at this time when the promotion is occurring, and order batching because there will be large quantities, right? But of course, it has a different cause here. The cause is that there is this trade promotion. So when we say trade promotion, to clarify, this is a kind of promotion that is offered from one business to another. We're not talking about a consumer promotion here. Although it could also happen, consumer promotions have also similar effect, but perhaps on a much smaller scale. The fifth and final cause of the bullwhip effect that we will discuss is rationing and shortage gaming. So actually the cause is due to rationing when a supplier, for example, supplier who delivers some products to retailers has insufficient capacity, well then the deliveries have to be reduced. And one way to trying to be fair is to reduce them by a certain percentage, for example, by 50% for each order. So basically what it does is if a retailer orders 100 units, the supplier might say, we will only deliver 50 because we are short and we cannot satisfy all the orders. We're trying to be fair. Well, of course, the incentive that it creates, right, that is that a retailer feels that if they want to actually get 100 units, they can order more. They can inflate their order. For example, in this case, they could order 200 units, right? And then if the delivery is actually for 50%, they would receive 100, right? So of course, this is creating a bullwhip effect because now the supplier might think there is even more demand than they expected, right? And maybe they have to actually reduce the deliveries even more, right? But the important thing from our perspective is that again we have information that is conveyed through those orders is not the true demand. It is inflated now, right? And because of this is still a bullwhip effect. The supplier, the manufacturer, let's say, has wrong information about the true demand. And so, and it is actually even worse if, for example, the supplier grants free returns to retailers, or those retailers can just cancel an order before delivery, right, which we call phantom orders, right? It's even worse because now the retailer has no fear whatsoever of ordering too much. They can always cancel or return, right? So then it makes the game for them even easier. And of course, this increases the bullwhip effect in the supply chain.